Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take a stack of your sources, articles, research your own notes, and extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight just for you. Take a look around you right now. Seriously, just glance at your surroundings. What do you see? Perhaps the sturdy, comfortable chair you're sitting in, the trusty pair of shoes on your feet, the elegant handbag by your side, or maybe even the familiar tactile steering wheel of your car. Chances are many of these items feature a material that has been with humanity since, well, our earliest days, a silent witness to millennia of innovation and adaptation. Yet how much do we truly know about where it comes from, how it's made, or its incredible multifaceted journey through history?
It's quite remarkable, isn't it? This material is just so ubiquitous, so deeply ingrained in our daily lives,
Yeah.
that we rarely pause to consider its fascinating origins and evolution. It's not just a product, it's a story of survival, a testament to human ingenuity, a symbol of luxury, and at its core, really a marvel of natural and applied chemistry.
Exactly. And that's our mission today. We're going to embark on a truly comprehensive deep dive into the captivating world of skins, hides, and leather. We're going to unpack the most important insights from your provided sources, tracing these materials from the rudimentary preservation techniques of ancient humans right up to the groundbreaking modern innovations we see today. And by the end of this deep dive, we'll even arm you with the knowledge to tell the real deal from its increasingly convincing synthetic alternatives.
So get ready for some truly surprising facts and hopefully a profound understanding that goes beyond the surface. This deep dive is designed to give you that well-informed shortcut, helping you understand not just what these materials are, but crucially, why they've been so enduringly significant throughout human history and, continue to be so vital in our modern world.
Okay, let's unpack this. To truly begin our journey, we need to lay some essential groundwork and, well, define our terms. When we talk about the raw materials before they become the finished products, we know skins and hides are often used interchangeably in everyday conversation. But our sources make it clear there's a fundamental distinction between the two.
That's a vital distinction, yeah. And it boils down primarily to the size of the animal the material came from. Our sources define skins as the natural outer covering of smaller animals. So think about something like a lamb, a sheep, a goat, or maybe even an ostrich. These animals yield a lighter, often more delicate material. The skins are generally thinner, less bulky when harvested.
Right. And then when we move to hides, we're specifically talking about the outer coverings of larger animals. These are inherently thicker and heavier, coming from sources like cows, buffalo, or bears. So the key differentiator really is the inherent bulk and density of that raw material. Imagine the difference in handling a delicate, almost airy lambskin compared to trying to lift and manipulate a robust, heavy cowhide. It's pretty significant.
And what's fascinating here is how this initial size distinction already has significant implications for potential uses, even before any processing begins. A thicker, heavier hide, like one from a cow or buffalo, naturally lends itself to applications where extreme durability, rigidity, and substantial body are key. Think about where you need a material to withstand significant stress, maybe heavy-duty industrial belting, or the incredibly robust sole leather found in certain types of shoes.
Right, something that needs to take a real beating and provide significant structure. Whereas a lighter, more pliable skin, such as from a lamb or a goat, is probably destined for, fine garments like supple jackets, soft gloves, or delicate accessories where drape and comfort are paramount. And our sources also clarify that while hide typically refers to the larger, thicker material, the term can sometimes broadly include furs, especially from larger fur-bearing animals. It also specifically refers to tanned leather pieces that haven't yet been cut to size for final products. So a large processed cow leather piece, before it's cut into sections for a sofa, is still often referred to as a hide in the industry.
Makes sense.
It's a useful distinction. It helps us categorize the raw material right from the start, setting expectations for its properties and potential uses. But whether we're talking about delicate skins or robust hides, they're not yet what we universally recognize as leather. They require a truly significant transformation first. And that brings us to our next crucial definition: leather itself. This isn't just any animal skin or hide simply removed from the animal. Leather is specifically animal skins and hides that have undergone a crucial and, well, pretty complex chemical treatment. This distinction is absolutely vital.
That's the absolute core of it, yeah. This chemical treatment is the defining step that separates a raw, highly perishable animal covering from the incredibly versatile, durable, and long-lasting material we recognize as leather. Its primary purpose, fundamentally, is preservation. Without this process, raw skins and hides would simply decompose, putrefy, and decay within a short period, rendering them useless for any long-term application. Think about what happens to organic material left out in the elements it breaks down. Tanning essentially stops that process in its tracks.
And the treatment effectively halts that natural decomposition process, locking in the material's integrity and making it suitable for an incredibly wide array of uses, as your sources highlight. From the very practical, the clothing we wear for protection and warmth, the footwear on our feet that shields and supports, to the more luxurious, like high-end handbags, comfortable furniture that lasts for decades, or even specialized tools and sports equipment that require incredible durability and flexibility. It's the difference between a fleeting biological material that would quickly return to the earth and something that can endure for years, even centuries, sometimes becoming a cherished heirloom.
It's an act of remarkable ingenuity, really,
Mm.
turning what would otherwise be a perishable byproduct into an invaluable, enduring resource. And this transformative process, this ancient alchemy of preservation, has an incredibly long and rich history that stretches back not just centuries, but into the very depths of prehistory, reflecting humanity's earliest struggles and triumphs.
And what a journey it is. Let's rewind the clock to the prehistoric foundations, where necessity truly was the mother of invention. Imagine early humans, their lives dictated by the hunt. Primarily for food, it was a daily struggle for survival.
But these early communities were incredibly resourceful, masters of efficiency, you could say. They didn't just consume the meat. The skins and hides were an immensely valuable byproduct. Rather than letting them go to waste, which would have been unthinkable in such harsh conditions, early humans quickly repurposed these coverings for their most essential needs. They provided warmth and protection as clothing, shielding them against brutal elements like biting winds, snow, and rain. Beyond that, they served as the primary building material for temporary shelters, the very first wigwams and teepees, providing critical refuge.
And here's where it gets really interesting, a testament to their observational skills. Even in prehistory, there's compelling evidence of rudimentary preservation. Your sources mention the use of red ochre, a natural clay pigment, as an early tanning agent. This wasn't the sophisticated chemical tanning we know today, of course, but it was an intuitive, effective method used to inhibit bacterial growth in the collagen fibers of the skin, thereby preventing decay and making the material last longer.
It absolutely speaks volumes about the practical intelligence of early humans. They might not have had a scientific laboratory, but they understood through trial and error that certain substances could prevent spoilage and extend the utility of these vital materials. Think about the daily challenge of simply surviving the winter. If your clothing or shelter fell apart quickly, your very existence was threatened. This early sort of chemical understanding allowed them to move beyond immediate consumption, fostering greater mobility and adaptability.
And you can only imagine the profound impact this had on early human survival and mobility. Being able to create durable, long-lasting clothing and portable, robust shelters from animal skins meant communities could endure far colder climates, undertake longer migrations across vast landscapes, and establish more permanent settlements. This fundamentally shapes human expansion and development. Picture a prehistoric community, completely reliant on these animal skins, not just for protection against freezing temperatures, but for the very structure of their nomadic movements across unforgiving terrains. It's the very definition of turning a necessity into an invention that changed humanity forever.
From these humble, survival-driven beginnings, leather quickly moved beyond mere utility and into the realms of artistry, luxury, and indeed power within the complex societies of ancient civilizations.
Right, let's fast forward to ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt. Your sources reveal compelling evidence of leather's significance woven into their very fabric of life, appearing in hieroglyphics and found in ancient tombs. It wasn't just for everyday clothing, it held sacred purposes too, like shrouds for the dead, implying a deep spiritual connection to the material.
And this is where we see the early intertwining of function and powerful symbolism. Priests, for example, wore distinctive fur and leopard skin skirts. This wasn't merely about covering their bodies. It clearly symbolized their status or religious roles, indicating the material's elevated cultural importance in connection to the divine or, powerful aspects of nature. Imagine the visual impact of a high priest adorned in such powerful animal hides.
The leather-making process in these ancient civilizations, while certainly rudimentary by modern industrial standards, was incredibly sophisticated for its time. Fresh skins were first sun-dried to begin the process, initiating a natural dehydration. Then they were softened by laboriously pounding them in animal fats and brains, a hands-on, physically demanding method that infused natural lubricants. Preservation continued through processes like salting and smoking, which further inhibited bacterial growth. And finally, they were dried and cured, which was their method of what we basically call tanning, locking in the material structure.
This multi-step process evolved through generations of trial and error, highlights a growing empirical understanding of material science. But what's particularly significant, as your sources point out, is the development of vegetable tanning techniques. We find evidence of sophisticated methods using natural materials like oak bark and the pods of the Egyptian acacia, also known as baobab. This represents a more formalized and conscious approach to preservation, drawing specifically on the chemical properties of the natural world.
Then, as we shift to ancient Greece and Rome, we see further evolution and even documentation. The ancient Greeks are credited with developing the first recorded tanning formulas, suggesting a systematic approach and perhaps even written knowledge or recipes being passed down. They used specific tree barks and leaves soaked in water to preserve leather, moving beyond intuition to a more precise understanding of the agents involved.
Absolutely. The Romans, known for their pragmatic and expansive approach to engineering and infrastructure, made extensive use of leather for clothes, but critically also for saddles and harnesses, demonstrating its crucial role in transportation, agriculture, and military logistics. And mirroring the Egyptians, fur remained a prominent sign of wealth for the rich, reflecting status and luxury. The Roman army, ever practical, wore animal skins on their heads, perhaps for intimidation or identification, and even innovatively utilized wool felting for padding their heavy armor, highlighting their understanding of material properties.
The Greeks, however, pushed the boundaries of leather's application even further. They were pioneers in using leather for furniture, with the first leather couch dating back as far as the 7th century BC. This wasn't about pure utility anymore. This was a clear step into realms of comfort, luxury, and sophisticated design. It shows a society valuing aesthetics and well-being, elevating a humble material to a statement piece.
It's a truly fascinating evolution. From basic survival to refined processes demanding specialized knowledge and craftsmanship, and then the full integration of leather into social hierarchies, military might, and even domestic luxury. Picture Egyptian priests in their leopard skin skirts signaling their divine connection and power, or Roman soldiers marching with their distinctive leather headwear, a blend of practicality and powerful symbolism. This material wasn't just functional, it was integral to how these complex societies functioned, expressed themselves, and distinguished their citizens.
And as empires rose and fell, leather continued to adapt and innovate, demonstrating its remarkable versatility and carrying its significance forward through the often turbulent yet creatively fertile Middle Ages.
During the Middle Ages, we see leather solidifying its role as a material of both function and evolving fashion, truly demonstrating its remarkable adaptability to changing needs and tastes. For instance, it became an incredibly popular upholstery choice for dining chairs, largely due to its inherent durability and, crucially for medieval households, its easy maintenance. Spills could be wiped, and it withstood the rigors of daily life in a way fabric often could not.
And then there's the fashion aspect, which was intricately tied to social status and even legal decree. The nobility, seeking to display their wealth and position, sported incredibly fine and rare furs like ermine, with its striking black-tipped white fur, and vair, a pattern of gray and white squirrel pelts. The demand for these luxurious furs was so high, and their symbolism so potent, that laws were actually enacted to restrict the unprivileged commoners and those of lower status to wearing less esteemed, more common furs like fox, otters, and various rodent furs. This clearly shows how materials like fur were deeply embedded in the social hierarchy and legal structures of the time, dictating who could wear what and signaling one's place in society.
What's also compelling from this period are the highly specialized leather working techniques that truly push the material's boundaries. Your sources highlight cuir-bouilli, that's cuir-bouilli, an ingenious process where leather was softened by soaking it in hot water, then intricately pressed, molded, or stamped to shape while still pliable. Once formed, it was hardened by drying, often through boiling or baking, sometimes even dipped in wax or resin. This process transformed flexible leather into surprisingly rigid, protective gear, widely used for light armory, strong boxes, and even intricate book covers. It's an early, sophisticated example of material engineering, turning leather into something akin to a composite material centuries before the term was even coined.
Wow. And then there was chamoising. Chamoising, a technique that produced a notably flexible and absorbent form of leather, often called chamois leather. This was achieved by oxidizing oils applied to the hide, meticulously working the oil into the fibers. This process resulted in a soft, pliable material, perfect for cleaning, but also valued for garments. It demonstrates the artisan's growing mastery over subtle chemical processes, achieving distinct feels and functions in the final material, from the rigid, protective armor of a knight to a soft, absorbent, almost fabric-like leather.
These medieval innovations truly underline how leather's practical properties like durability and easy cleaning made it ideal for domestic use, while its more luxurious and specially treated forms became powerful symbols of status and incredible feats of craftsmanship, even codified by law. Imagine a medieval knight encased in rigid carabao armor, every curve and reinforcement carefully molded, contrasting sharply with the visual difference between a noble draped in the stark white of ermine and a commoner in plain utilitarian fox fur. The material spoke volumes.
As the world expanded beyond the confines of medieval Europe, so too did the scale and impact of the leather and fur trade, leading us into a period of global commerce and technological upheaval. The Victorian period.
The Victorian period brought truly significant shifts, particularly in the global fur trade. By the 1500s, what started as local trade had ballooned into a massive, interconnected network. A significant trade developed between North America, rich in beaver populations, India, and Europe, primarily focused on beaver fur and pelts. This immense demand for beaver felt, used extensively for fashionable hats, unfortunately led to a dangerous and widespread decline in the number of fur-bearing animal populations across vast regions, highlighting early and often devastating instances of unsustainable practices driven by relentless market demand.
It's a sobering precursor to our modern concerns about environmental impact, isn't it? Interestingly, your sources note that by the 1800s, the fur trade actually started to decline as the silk trade gained prominence, offering a new, luxurious textile. However, that didn't last long, because by the 19th century, increased technology, like advancements in tanning and processing machinery, allowed for faster and more efficient fur production. This breathed new life into the industry, illustrating how industrial advancements and changing production methods can quickly reshape the availability, demand, and even the environmental footprint of natural resources.
What's also fascinating, and at times a little macabre from the Victorian era, is the dramatic rise of taxidermy. This trend emerged due to a confluence of factors: a growing interest in naturalism in both art and science, a burgeoning desire for scientific knowledge about the natural world, and the increasing popularity of grand hunting excursions for exotic beasts, which created a demand for impressive trophies to display. Taxidermy rapidly became a distinct status symbol of luxury for the burgeoning middle and upper classes, with examples ranging from beautifully preserved animals for natural history displays to, surprisingly, even dead pets being converted into bizarre domestic curiosities like candle holders or hunting trophies intricately integrated into furniture and accessories, blurring the lines between nature and domesticity. It's a curious, almost unsettling shift in how luxury was perceived and displayed.
And throughout all these shifts, leather itself continued its broad adoption, moving beyond just clothing. It was widely used for military equipment, emphasizing its proven durability and practicality on a grand scale, outfitting armies. Domestically, in furniture, we saw significant design innovations, with new techniques like deep tufting, decorative buttons, and intricate quilting becoming popular, famously exemplified in the iconic Chesterfield sofa, a design that still resonates today.
The quintessential Victorian parlor, often adorned with elaborate taxidermy trophies and featuring a stately, deeply button-tufted Chesterfield sofa, perfectly reflects the era's unique blend of scientific curiosity, a romanticized naturalism, and burgeoning opulence. It shows leather adapting not just to military practicality, but to new design trends and lavish expressions of wealth. This period truly highlights the global reach of these materials and how industrial advancements could accelerate production even for goods derived from natural resources.
And that profound transition into the Industrial Revolution profoundly transformed leather production and, crucially, introduced entirely new materials into the market, ushering us fully into the modern era.
The modern era truly revolutionized leather production, starting with a monumental invention, chemical tanning in 1858, specifically the use of chromium sulfate for tanning. This was an absolute game changer for the industry. The very first chemically tanned leather was produced in New York in 1884, marking a monumental industrial milestone, fundamentally altering how leather was made.
The impact was immense and immediate. Before this, vegetable tannins, which were derived from natural plant extracts, were the dominant method. These were often sourced globally and imported in large amounts, particularly from regions like South America. But chemical tannins, like chrome, weren't tied to any particular locality or growing season. This meant leather production could become much more localized, significantly faster, and far more efficient. This fundamentally shifted global supply chains, dramatically impacting cost and availability, effectively moving leather production from a skilled craft, often localized, to a truly industrial, mass-scale operation.
Beyond the material itself, the modern era also saw evolving interior design trends that incorporated elements of the natural world, even as synthetics emerged. Feathers, for instance, became an unexpected yet prominent symbol of luxury in interior design, used in elaborate trimmings and accessories. And the renowned interior designer Elsie de Wolfe notably incorporated bold animal prints and patterns into her designs, showcasing a continued, perhaps even intensified fascination with the aesthetic qualities derived from the natural world, even as manufactured alternatives began to emerge.
And these synthetic alternatives are undeniably a huge part of the modern material story. The development of these substitutes was incremental, building on earlier scientific discoveries and starting surprisingly early in the 19th century. In 1845, the German chemist Christian Friedrich Schenbein developed gun cotton, or nitrocellulose, a highly flammable compound. A year later, in 1846, French scientist Louis-Nicolas Menard created collodion, or pyroxylin, a similar substance which was initially used as a protective coating in wound dressings, offering a flexible, film-like barrier.
It's truly fascinating how medical innovations can so often spill over into broad industrial applications. This pyroxylin, initially for wound care, was later applied to fabrics, giving them a durable, leathery feel. This led directly to the creation of Fabricoid by DuPont in 1910. Fabricoid was a pyroxylin-infused fabric specifically engineered and used for upholstery, book bindings, and, crucially, for automobile covers. Imagine the interior of an early Ford Model T upholstered not in leather, but in Fabricoid. It marked a significant shift in material possibilities, offering a more durable, consistent, and cost-effective alternative to natural leather in rapidly expanding industries like automotive manufacturing.
The innovations continue to refine these synthetic materials. In the 1920s, we saw the introduction of naugahyde, which was initially a fabric coated with leather, fiber, and rubber, attempting to replicate the feel and look even more closely. And then by the 1960s, there was a widespread introduction of what we commonly refer to today as artificial leather fabrics coated or infused with advanced polymers like polyurethane or polyvinyl chloride.
These artificial leathers quickly acquired common, recognizable names that you'd hear today: faux leather, imitation leather, and the more colloquial pleather. The implications of these substitutes are vast, from greatly increased accessibility and lower cost for consumers to introducing entirely new properties like greater consistency in appearance, enhanced waterproof capabilities, or specific tactile feels that might be desired for certain products where natural leather wouldn't be ideal. This historical context gives us a solid foundation, showing the remarkable journey from raw animal coverings to sophisticated manufactured alternatives.
Absolutely. Now, with a much better understanding of how far we've come historically, let's dive even deeper into the specific kinds of skins and hides themselves. These raw materials, with their unique biological characteristics, give rise to a truly diverse range of finished products.
Focusing first on skins, those coverings from smaller animals, it's worth remembering a fundamental biological fact that underpins many of their properties. The skin is the largest organ found in most animal bodies. Your sources highlight that it's made of natural chemical building blocks called polymers. Think of polymers as incredibly long, complex chains of molecules, like millions of tiny interlinked beads. These long chains and how they're structured are precisely what impart crucial properties like elasticity, strength, and durability to the skin.
And it's these inherent biological structures that dictate so much about the final material's feel and function. Let's look at some specific kinds of skins that have unique stories. First up, pigskin and peccary leather. This comes, as the name suggests, from domesticated pigs, not wild boars, which produce a much tougher, bristlier hide. Peccary leather specifically comes from domesticated European pigs and is notably rich in fat, contributing to its softness.
A truly distinguishing feature of pig leather, if you look closely, is the pattern of its hair pores. They're often grouped in small clusters of 3, forming a sort of triangular pattern, which can be a key identifier. However, your sources note a specific and important use limitation. Pigskin leather is generally not suitable for upholstery. This is often due to its inherent stretchiness, its distinctive pore pattern, which some find less aesthetically pleasing for large surfaces, and sometimes its durability when subjected to the constant friction of seating.
Then we have sheepskin and sheep leather. This animal offers a truly dual-use material, a marvel of resource efficiency. If the fur is kept intact during the tanning process, it's called shearling. Shearling is incredibly warm, soft, and luxurious, making it highly valued for cozy area rugs, decorative throws, and of course, exceptionally warm winter clothing like coats and boots.
But if the fur is meticulously removed after tanning, you get sheep leather, which is a thin, very soft, and flexible leather. It's used for various applications, including, surprisingly, to protect wounded skin due to its softness and breathability. And of course, the fur that's removed isn't wasted. It's processed and made into wool fabric, which then goes on to become sweaters, blankets, and other textiles, demonstrating incredible efficiency in utilizing every part of the animal.
Moving to something a bit more exotic and visually striking, we have shagreen, also known as ray skin. This comes from rays, which are fascinating cartilaginous fish, closely related to sharks. Unlike most fish, their skin isn't smooth at all. It's covered with these incredible tiny tooth-like projections, what scientists call placoid or dermal denticles. Imagine the surface of a shark's skin, but perhaps even more pronounced. It gives shagreen its unique, bumpy, almost pebbly texture.
This distinctive, almost sculptural texture made it highly valuable in specific applications. Historically, it was used by Japanese craftsmen as a more accessible, yet still luxurious, alternative to sprinkled gold and silver in decorative arts and sword handles, showing how unique textures could be adapted and highly valued in different cultures and for different purposes. The preparation process was quite involved. It required soaking the skin in warm water for several days to soften it, carefully scraping off the flesh, and then drying it to make it stiff yet flexible, ready for intricate craftsmanship.
And finally, a truly high-end and often visually dramatic material, crocodile skin. This comes from amphibians with, perhaps surprisingly, moist, smooth skin when untreated. But what's truly interesting is how different parts of the animal's skin yield dramatically different qualities. There are two main types of cut that dictate its use and value. First, the back cut, which is highly scaly and has a rougher, more uneven texture. This is typically used for trimmings or smaller decorative elements, where its ruggedness is either desired or its more uneven pattern doesn't interfere with the overall design.
And then there's the belly cut, which is far more highly popular and sought after due to its smooth texture and its distinctive pattern of small, uniform scale structures. This makes it incredibly pliable, luxurious, and suitable for high-end items, such as luxury handbags, wallets, watch straps, and fine clothing, where a uniform, supple material is paramount. It perfectly highlights how specific animal characteristics, down to the very section of the animal and its natural variations, not only identify the material but also dictate its suitability for particular applications and its ultimate value.
It's amazing, isn't it? Imagine trying to identify a leather item just by looking at its pore patterns or feeling its texture. This knowledge helps unlock those secrets and tells you a deeper story about the material. From these smaller, often more delicate skins, we seamlessly transition to the larger category of hides, equally diverse in their properties and robust applications.
Indeed. To recap, hides specifically refer to the skins of animals with a shoulder height of more than 1 meter, so significantly larger creatures. This term generally applies to all leather derived from such animals, whether it retains the animal hair on the surface or whether it's been removed during processing. Your sources also clarify that the term hide can sometimes broadly include furs, particularly those harvested from species with dense, soft hair, and it consistently refers to large, tanned leather pieces that haven't yet been cut to size for final products.
So it really emphasizes the raw, substantial nature of the material from larger animals, hinting at its potential for heavy-duty use. Let's dive into some specific kinds of hides that stand out. First, carabao hide. This comes from a type of water buffalo, specifically the carabao found in the Philippines. It's known for being a very thick hide, often several times thicker than regular cowhide, and while it's described as loose-fibered, which might suggest a lack of cohesion, it possesses truly great tensile strength, meaning it's incredibly resistant to stretching or breaking under tension.
What's truly remarkable about carabao hide, according to your sources, is its inherent waterproof quality, a natural resistance to moisture that sets it apart. And perhaps most impressively, it produces sole leather of superior quality, so robust that a single layer is often sufficient to replace what would typically require double belting in ordinary soles for shoes. This speaks volumes about its incredible durability and robust nature, making it ideal for heavy-duty applications where strength and water resistance are paramount.
Then we have cattle hide, which is without a doubt the most common and widely produced hide globally. Your sources describe good, light hides from native cattle. The hair on these hides is typically very short, giving the impression of having been closely clipped, even when it hasn't. Crucially for manufacturing, they are firm and exceptionally uniform throughout the whole spread of the skin.
This uniformity is a significant advantage for large-scale industrial manufacturing, allowing for consistent quality, predictable cutting, and efficient processing, which makes cattle hide an incredibly versatile workhorse material. Now, before these robust hides can undergo the transformative tanning process we discussed earlier, proper preservation is absolutely critical to prevent decay and maintain their value. Your sources detail several traditional and effective methods.
Yes, it's a critical step that's been practiced for millennia. In the absence of immediate tanning, hides must be properly preserved either by salting or drying. Salting is a common and effective method, usually employed when several hides need to be held for days or even weeks prior to marketing, especially when salt prices are reasonable and readily available. The method involves meticulously piling the hides up, about 7.6 centimeters, roughly 3 inches above the floor, crucial for air circulation, and always with the flesh side up, allowing the salt to draw out moisture effectively.
For longer storage periods, the hides should be periodically repiled and resalted, with the top hide moving to the bottom in the new stack. This ensures an even distribution of salt and continued preservation, preventing any localized spoilage. If hides are to be dried, they need to be stretched to prevent shrinkage and maintain their shape. They should be toggled or nailed onto large boards or sturdy bamboo frames, allowing air to circulate around them. Alternatively, they can be hand-staked by pulling the skin tightly over a wooden or bamboo staker and stretching it under significant tension, a physically demanding but effective method.
These are painstaking traditional processes, highlighting the immediate practical challenges faced by early communities and still by modern suppliers today to prevent spoilage and waste. Imagine the effort involved in curing hundreds of hides this way. And finally, for marketing preparation, cured or dried hides should be folded only once, and that fold should be precisely along the line of the backbone. This specific folding technique likely ensures the hide maintains its structural integrity, prevents unwanted creases or damage, and is presented optimally for sale and future cutting, showing careful consideration for the material's final journey.
Understanding these raw materials and their early preservation is absolutely crucial for appreciating the entire journey. Now let's explore the truly remarkable characteristics that make finished leather so prized and distinct, moving beyond the rawhide to the deep science and intricate art of the final material.
It's true. Leather isn't just a simple material. It's a marvel of natural engineering, exquisitely enhanced by centuries of human ingenuity. Your sources highlight that leather possesses a unique combination of characteristics that profoundly contribute to its unparalleled durability, its inherent comfort, and its incredible versatility across countless applications.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's really delve into these core properties because they're what make leather so special. First, resistance to tear. Leather generally exhibits a very high resistance to tearing, making it an exceptionally robust material capable of withstanding significant stress. While there are exceptions for softer, more delicate types like fine suede, nubuck, or extremely soft lambskin, for the most part, leather holds its structural integrity under pressure.
And closely linked to that is its high resistance to flexing. This is its remarkable ability to withstand numerous bending and folding cycles. Think about the daily life of a pair of shoes or a frequently used armchair without showing significant damage or deterioration. It also boasts a high resistance to puncture, meaning it has a relative ability to inhibit foreign object intrusion. This property makes it excellent for protective gear, from sturdy work boots to motorcycle jackets.
A truly fascinating property, especially from a comfort perspective, is its good heat insulation. Heat travels very slowly through leather, causing the temperature to build up primarily on the side of the heat source while the other side remains relatively cool. This is because leather contains a great deal of trapped air within its fiber structure, and air, as we know, is a poor conductor of heat, making leather an effective insulator, almost like a natural thermal barrier.
This inherent insulation leads us beautifully to its permeability to water vapor. The intricate network of leather fibers holds large quantities of water vapor. This property enables leather to absorb perspiration from the body, which is then gradually dissipated into the environment, a significant factor in comfort, especially in close-fitting items like footwear or gloves. And combine that with its thermostatic properties. Leather actually feels warm in winter and cool in summer because it adapts to body temperature while allowing moisture transfer. It's also notably resistant to heat and even fire, further enhancing its protective qualities.
Its moldability is also quite remarkable and a key to its artistic and functional versatility. Leather can be molded into a specific three-dimensional shape, and once dry, it will often retain that new shape, much like clay. It possesses both elastic and plastic properties during wear, meaning it can stretch slightly to conform to the body or object and then hold that new form. It can be made stiff for structural components or incredibly flexible for garments, and even in some cases remolded later, showcasing its incredible adaptability in design and application.
Beyond protection and comfort, it has excellent resistance to wet and dry abrasion. Leather is remarkably resistant to wear and tear from friction in both wet and dry environments, making it an excellent protector of human skin. Imagine the punishment a leatherwork glove takes. These crucial properties, which determine its resilience and lifespan, are meticulously controlled by the specific tannage and surface finish applied during its production.
And finally, a very practical advantage for longevity. It's inherently resistant to fungi, mildew, and mold, which is key for maintaining its appearance and structural integrity over time, especially in humid conditions. And significantly, it has advanced resistance to chemical attack. Modern leathers are specifically tanned and dressed to resist harmful chemicals like sulfur dioxide gas, often found in polluted urban atmospheres from burning carbon fuels, which previously could accelerate deterioration. This demonstrates how modern tanning constantly evolves to address contemporary environmental challenges and ensures the material's long-term stability.
It's truly a marvel how these combined properties make leather ideal for such diverse and demanding applications. From protective clothing that shields against harsh weather, abrasion, and even minor impacts, to incredibly comfortable seating that manages perspiration and maintains a pleasant temperature year-round. Think about how a good pair of leather gloves protects hands from both biting cold and rough abrasions, or how high-quality leather shoes manage perspiration for all-day comfort, demonstrating multiple properties at once.
These exceptional properties aren't magic, though they might seem like it. They are the direct and incredible result of the transformative process of tanning, which is where the rawhide becomes the durable, versatile material we know and love.
And this is where the rawhide truly sheds its ephemeral nature and becomes the enduring, versatile material we recognize. The tanning process is, at its heart, a chemical marvel. It's what converts the rawhide or skin protein into a stable material that will not decay, rot, or produce a fetid smell. This remarkable transformation makes it suitable for a truly wide variety of purposes that would be impossible with untreated skin.
At a molecular level, the magic of tanning lies in its mechanism. It fundamentally changes the structure of the collagen within the hide. Imagine the raw collagen fibers in an animal hide as countless tiny, individual, wet spaghetti strands. Left untreated, they'd either dry out and become brittle, or they'd quickly putrefy and decompose, as any organic material does. Tanning agents, whether they are ancient oak bark or modern chromium salts, act like a molecular superglue. They form incredibly strong, stable cross-links between these protein strands, essentially locking them into place, creating a stable, interconnected network. This molecular architecture is what fundamentally changes the hide, making it incredibly resistant to the degrading effects of acids, alkalis, heat, water, and crucially, microorganisms. It's a permanent chemical transformation, not just a temporary coating.
And what's truly fascinating is that different tanning agents impart remarkably different properties to the final leather, giving us an incredible range of textures, colors, and uses. We have mineral tannages, primarily salts of chromium, specifically chromium sulfate. These are widely used in modern production for their incredible efficiency, speed, and versatility, often producing softer, more pliable leathers.
Then there are vegetable tannages derived from various natural plant extracts, like the tannins found in tree bark, oak, chestnut, or fruit pods, like the Egyptian babel acacia. These typically produce brown-colored leathers that are notably thick, firm, and robust. They're traditionally used for stout sole leather, for heavy-duty belting leather and machinery, and for leathers used in structured items like shoe linings, bags, and cases applications where rigidity, strength, and a classic natural aesthetic are paramount.
And finally, we have aldehyde and oil tannages. These processes, often using glutaraldehyde or various fish oils, produce very soft, pliable leathers. These are often dry cleanable and even washable fashion leathers, making them incredibly versatile for clothing. They're also famously used to produce chamois leather, known for its exceptional softness and absorbency, perfect for polishing or delicate cleaning.
It's truly fascinating to compare and contrast the outcomes produced by these different tanning methods. Mineral tanning, being fast and efficient, allows for a wider range of colors and a modern, often supple feel. Vegetable tanning, a more traditional and time-consuming method, yields that classic, firm, often rustic feel with rich, natural browns. Aldehyde and oil tanning, on the other hand, prioritize softness and flexibility, opening up a whole new range of products. The choice of tanning agent is directly linked to the desired end use of the leather, dictating everything from its texture and drape to its longevity and maintenance requirements.
Imagine holding the rigid, structured feel of a dense, vegetable-tanned sole for a shoe versus the soft, pliable, almost fabric-like drape of an aldehyde-tanned glove. The difference is striking, and it all comes down to the ingenious chemical processes of tanning. This transformative process, along with the specific part of the animal's skin used, also precisely determines the grade or type of finished leather.
That's right. Understanding these grades is essential because not all natural leather is created equal, even if it comes from the same animal. Leather is often graded based on which specific layer of the animal's skin is used and how it's subsequently processed, which directly impacts its properties, its aesthetic, and of course its cost.
Let's start with what's widely considered the pinnacle of quality, full-grain leather. This uses the very highest layer of skin, the one closest to the air, which includes the outermost epidermis and the underlying dermis. This top layer is inherently the toughest, most durable, and often the most beloved part of the hide because it retains the entire natural grain.
It truly retains the genuine, original grain of the hide, including all its natural markings, subtle variations, and unique characteristics like scars or wrinkles. It's often left unfinished or treated with only clear protective coatings, allowing its completely unique characteristics, natural creases, and subtle coloring to shine through. Because there's a smaller usable amount of this pristine top layer on each animal, and it's quite difficult to work with due to its inherent toughness and thickness, the price of full-grain leather is understandably high. Its natural imperfections are not flaws, but rather cherished hallmarks of its authenticity and superior quality.
Just below full grain, we have top grain leather. This takes the layer of skin just beneath the full grain, so it's still a very strong, desirable part of the hide. However, unlike full grain, top grain is lightly worked or buffed to remove imperfections, minor scars, or natural blemishes. This results in a smoother, more consistent, and more uniform appearance than full grain.
It's often considered the most common luxury leather for everyday items, as it offers a great balance of quality and workability. Because it's easier to work with, allowing for more precise cutting and shaping, it helps keep the price down compared to full grain, making it more accessible. However, your sources note that because it's been buffed and often finished with a pigment or protective layer, it may have a slightly more uniform, sometimes even a plastic-like feel, and generally possesses less breathability compared to full grain, as some of its natural qualities are altered during processing to achieve that perfectly smooth finish.
And then there's a grade that can sometimes be a bit misleading for consumers due to its name. Genuine leather. The name sounds like it should be the best, right? But your sources clarify that genuine leather typically refers to the leather that remains after the harder, more expensive top grains have been stripped off. It often has a suede side or a distinctly suede-like feeling to it, meaning it's derived from the lower layers of the hide.
While it is unequivocally still real leather it came from an animal, it's not as durable or as long-lasting as full or top grain because it lacks that robust, intact top layer. Its major advantage, and why it's so prevalent in the market, is that it's much cheaper to produce. The softer, easier to work leather underneath the top layers can be manufactured into a wider variety of goods with greater ease and less waste, making it a highly functional, economical option for mass production and for products where cost is a primary concern. So it's a specific grade, not necessarily a hallmark of the highest quality as some might assume, but rather a more accessible entry point into leather products.
It's all about truly understanding the layering concept of animal skin and how each layer and its subsequent processing yields dramatically different qualities, costs, and applications. When you hold an item of full-grain leather, you can literally feel its natural imperfections and see its rich, unique texture, which contrasts sharply with the smoother, more uniform appearance of a top-grain piece. Beyond these general grades, specific treatments and the animal sources themselves create a truly fascinating array of specialized leathers, each with its own story and purpose.
And this is where the artistry and nuance of leather truly shine, leading to a world of incredibly diverse textures and finishes, each optimized for a particular function or aesthetic. Let's look at some specific examples that demonstrate this mastery. First, aniline leather. This is a natural-looking leather type that is often specifically applied in high-end contexts like luxury car seats, where both visual appeal and a rich, natural feel are highly desired.
What makes it unique is that it's colored with soluble aniline dyes. This means the dye fully penetrates the leather without coating its surface. As a result, it doesn't have a pigment-based surface finish. There's no opaque layer on top. This makes aniline leather a highly porous, smooth leather where the natural texture of the skin, including all its subtle grain patterns and natural imperfections, is clearly visible. Because of this transparency and the requirement for a blemish-free rawhide, it's typically classed as a very high-grade leather with a price to match its status. The complete lack of a pigmented color layer on the surface means that aniline leather feels incredibly natural, soft, and warm to the touch, almost like a second skin.
Next, we have nubuck. This is an aniline-dyed leather that has undergone a specific mechanical process. It has been lightly abraded or buffed on the grain surface. This creates a very fine, soft, velvety finish, or nap, similar to suede, but on the grain side. In some cases, the original grain pattern is still subtly visible beneath the nap, giving it a unique character that blends natural texture with a refined softness. The nap is exceptionally fine because it's created from the tight fiber structure in the grain layer, which is the densest part of the hide. It can be produced in white or a wide array of colors. Your sources also mention it specifically refers to cattle hide leather buffed on the grain side, highlighting its common source.
And closely related, yet distinct, is suede. Unlike nubuck, suede is typically a split leather. This means it's made from the inner layers of the hide, which are then rigorously abraded on the wearing surface to create its characteristic, distinctively fuzzy nap. It's defined as leather whose wearing surface has been finished to produce a velvet-like nap that is generally longer and coarser than nubuck. Suede is typically produced from the smaller, softer skins, such as calf skin, kid skin, lamb skin, and goat skin, which naturally yield a finer, softer nap, though cowhide can also be processed to create suede, albeit a thicker, more robust version. The key difference between nubuck and suede often comes down to which layer of the hide is used, and consequently the fineness and durability of the resulting nap.
Then there's buckskin, or brained leather. This refers to leather that has undergone a very ancient and traditional type of tanning process using animal brains or other fatty materials. The fats and enzymes in the brains act as natural emulsifiers and tanning agents, breaking down the hide's fibers in a unique way. The resulting hide is incredibly supple, soft, and distinctly suede-like. To prevent rotting after this organic tanning, it's typically smoked, which also gives it a distinctive color and aroma, adding to its unique character and preservation.
And finally, one of the most highly valued and incredibly delicate specialized leathers is slink. This is a truly unique type of leather made from the skin of unborn calves. Because these animals are not yet fully developed, their skin is exceptionally thin, incredibly soft, and possesses a delicate, almost silky texture. Due to its rarity, its delicate nature, and its exceptional softness and luxurious feel, slink is highly valued and reserved for the most exquisite and high-end applications, often in fine garments or accessories.
These diverse examples highlight the incredible nuances of finishing processes, from transparent aniline dyes versus opaque pigments, to meticulously abrading for a specific velvety nap, and how these techniques dramatically alter the look, feel, and even the functional durability of the final product. Each offers specific, desirable properties. Aniline for its natural softness and transparency, nubuck for its fine, velvety texture, suede for its distinctive fuzzy nap, and buckskin for its unique suppleness derived from traditional organic tanning. Think about the luxurious, rich feel of an aniline leather car seat that breathes naturally versus the cozy, tactile texture of a suede jacket, each optimized for its specific purpose and desired sensory experience.
While natural leather, with its rich history and incredible versatility, remains highly prized and deeply traditional, modern ingenuity has also given us increasingly sophisticated alternatives. A whole new world of leather substitutes designed to meet different needs and values.
Indeed. The rise of synthetic materials has fundamentally reshaped the landscape of textiles, giving us a variety of compelling alternatives to natural leather. These artificial or synthetic leathers go by several names, which are important for consumers to recognize. Faux leather is a very common term, particularly for upholstery in sofas, chairs, and headboards, where a leather-like appearance is desired without the cost or specific maintenance requirements of genuine leather.
Then there's leatherette, a term frequently used for auto upholstery and clothing, suggesting a material that needs to be tough, wipeable, and durable, capable of withstanding constant use and varying temperatures. And a somewhat lesser-known term is coskin, often found in consumer goods like laptop bags, binders, or smaller accessories, where a leather-like feel at a lower price point is key. These terms arose specifically to differentiate clearly from genuine animal leather, and their common uses, like a leatherette for cars, often indicate certain performance expectations, such as superior durability or exceptional ease of cleaning.
The motivation for creating these substitutes is genuinely multifaceted. It's driven by cost effectiveness, as synthetics are generally cheaper to produce. It's also about consistency in material. Synthetics offer uniform appearance and properties, unlike natural leather's inherent variations. Ethical considerations around animal products play a significant role for many consumers. And critically, specific performance requirements, like being inherently waterproof, completely stain-resistant, or incredibly easy to clean, which natural leather may not always offer as readily or without significant treatment. Within this broad category, two prominent materials dominate the market: polyurethane and polyvinyl chloride.
Let's start with polyurethane, or PU. This is widely considered the most realistic imitation of genuine leather, and it's come a long, long way from its early iterations. It's manufactured by coating a backing fabric, which could be anything from cotton to polyester, or even a blend with fretted leather fibers, with a flexible polymer known as polyurethane. This coated fabric is then meticulously treated, often embossed or textured, to mimic the distinct appearance and grain of various animal hides.
Its key properties are what make it such a compelling and popular alternative. PU is known for its remarkable resemblance to genuine leather in terms of hand. That's the tactile feel when you touch it, its surface feel, and its overall visual appearance. Unlike some earlier stiffer synthetics that could crack and peel, PU is specifically noted for its flexibility, leading to no cracking or peeling over time. It remains wonderfully soft and supple for the duration of its lifespan, particularly on furniture, providing a comfortable and aesthetically pleasing surface.
What's also interesting, and often a point of consideration for consumers, is its environmental aspect. Your sources state that polyurethane is considered greener than vinyl because its manufacturing process does not create dioxins, which are harmful environmental pollutants. PU resins are made of a softer polymer and therefore don't typically need additional plasticizers, which are often phthalate-based and can be a point of environmental or health concern in other synthetics like PVC.
From a cost perspective, polyurethane costs less than real leather, making it a more accessible option for a wider range of products. However, it is generally more expensive to produce than vinyl, due to the more complex chemical composition and manufacturing processes involved. Imagine the feel of a modern faux leather couch. The advancements in PU have truly transformed the comfort and aesthetics of synthetic furniture, moving far beyond earlier, less convincing materials to offer a truly viable, high-quality alternative. While PU aims for realism and a softer feel, another prominent substitute, vinyl, prioritizes different characteristics, often focusing on extreme durability and ease of care.
That's right. Polyvinyl chloride, or vinyl, PVC, is another incredibly common leather substitute, particularly known for its almost indestructible durability and exceptional ease of care. It's manufactured from two separate synthetic materials. Strong upholstery fibers, which are usually robust polyester fibers, form the base. These fibers are then coated with vinyl.
The vinyl component is composed of polyvinyl chloride, PVC itself, along with plasticizers like phthalic acid. These plasticizers are crucial. They are added to make the otherwise rigid PVC pliable and flexible. This vinyl mixture is then melted onto the surface of the polyester fibers, effectively sealing them completely. This process creates a virtually waterproof, incredibly flexible, and remarkably tough surface, ideal for demanding applications.
Its key properties make it exceptionally easy to clean and maintain, which is precisely why it's highly useful for environments where cleanliness and hygiene are paramount, such as in hospitals, public transport, or high-traffic restaurants. You can simply wipe it down. It doesn't require any special care or conditioning, unlike natural leather, making it a true low-maintenance choice that appeals to many commercial and residential settings.
However, it does come with some notable drawbacks that are worth considering. Vinyl can become uncomfortably hot and sticky if left in direct sun for extended periods, leading to skin sticking unpleasantly to the surface and an uncomfortable seating situation. It may also, with extended use, especially if subjected to significant temperature fluctuations or harsh cleaning agents, eventually crack, losing its aesthetic appeal and protective qualities. So while it's durable and incredibly cost-effective, its comfort and long-term aesthetic integrity can sometimes be compromised, especially compared to more supple materials.
You can clearly see the practical reasons why a busy restaurant, a healthcare facility, or even a child's playroom might choose vinyl seating over natural leather or even PU. The sheer ease of wiping down spills and ensuring consistent hygiene is a huge, undeniable advantage. But with so many options now available, both natural and synthetic, how can you, the discerning listener, know if what you're seeing or buying is actually real leather or one of its sophisticated imitations?
That's a crucial question for any consumer. And thankfully, there are several sensory and physical tests you can employ to confidently distinguish genuine leather from its synthetic counterparts. These are practical steps you can take yourself when you're examining a product.
Let's start with the flame test. Now, a very important word of caution here. This should only be a very small controlled test on an inconspicuous area, or ideally a sample, and absolutely not performed on finished goods you intend to keep, as it will damage them. But in a controlled environment, if you apply a small flame, real leather will only char slightly, like burnt toast, and smell distinctly like burnt hair because it's a natural protein. Faux leather, on the other hand, being a plastic-based material, will actually catch flame, melt, curl, and emit a strong, acrid smell distinctly like burning plastic.
A much safer and more practical test for everyday use is checking for creases and wrinkles. If you press your finger firmly into the surface of the leather, real leather, being a natural, organic material with a complex fibrous structure, will wrinkle and crease under pressure, much like your own skin does. Synthetic materials, being more uniform and often plastic-coated, usually just press down under your finger, retaining their rigidity and original, perfectly smooth shape without forming those natural organic wrinkles. This is a very clear tell.
You can also try the absorbency test. Drop a very small amount of water, just a single drop, on an inconspicuous area of the item. Real leather, being a natural, porous material with fibers designed to absorb moisture, will absorb that small drop of water in only a few seconds, darkening slightly where the water has soaked in. Synthetics, however, are typically designed to be water-resistant or even waterproof, so they will generally repel the water, allowing it to bead on the surface without soaking in.
Then there's the incredibly distinct smell test. Real leather has a unique, unmistakable, earthy, rich smell that simply cannot be replicated by synthetic leather, no matter how advanced the manufacturing process. It's a natural, organic aroma that, once you've smelled it, is a dead giveaway. Faux leather often has a chemical or plasticky smell, or no smell at all.
The feel test is also very telling, though it requires a bit of tactile experience. Real leather can feel anywhere from coarse and pebbly to incredibly smooth and supple, depending on its quality, type, and finish. However, it will always have a certain nuanced, organic texture that feels natural and often slightly warm to the touch. If the product feels too smooth, unnaturally uniform, slick, or distinctly like plastic, it is highly likely fake. Real leather is also generally less consistent in texture across a larger piece because it is a natural material with natural variations and imperfections that are harder to regulate.
Finally, take a very close look at the pores. Examine the surface of the leather under good light, perhaps with a magnifying glass. Real leather has an inconsistent, organic pattern of pores. They'll be unevenly spaced, varying slightly in size and depth because it is a natural material with natural variations. Synthetic leathers, being manufactured, will often have a uniform, repetitive, or stamped pattern of pores that looks too perfect, too regular, or simply unnatural, often appearing as if they were pressed on by a machine. Empower yourself by grabbing a leather item and a synthetic one at home right now to try the crease, smell, or pore test directly. Once you've identified genuine leather, proper care is absolutely essential for its longevity and maintaining its beauty.
Absolutely. Proper cleaning and maintenance practices are not just suggestions. They are crucial for preserving leather's quality, appearance, and value, ensuring your investment lasts for decades to come. For normal, routine cleaning, you should vacuum or dust frequently with a clean, dry, soft cloth to remove any surface dirt, dust, or crumbs that can accumulate and potentially scratch the surface.
If the leather becomes soiled, perhaps with a light smudge or general grime, wipe it gently with a soft, damp cloth, using a lather of mild non-detergent soap with lukewarm water. Always dry immediately with a clean, soft cloth to prevent watermarks. A crucial tip here is to not spot clean. Instead, make sure you clean the entire surface of the panel or item from seam to seam. This ensures an even finish and avoids creating noticeable watermarks or areas that dry unevenly, preserving the leather's uniform appearance.
For spots and spills, especially liquids, the key is immediate action. Wipe liquid spills immediately with a clean cloth or sponge to absorb as much as possible, and then let the leather air dry naturally. If further cleaning is necessary after the initial wipe, sponge the entire surface again with lukewarm water. Crucially, and we cannot stress this enough, always let the leather air dry. Never use a hairdryer or any other direct heat source to dry leather. Applying heat can cause the leather to dehydrate rapidly, leading to irreversible cracking, shrinking, and becoming brittle. For stubborn spots and stains that don't come out with a simple damp cloth, you can apply a mild, non-abrasive soap solution with a clean wet sponge, rinse well by wiping with a clean damp cloth, and then let it air dry completely.
The most specific and critical instruction comes for butter, oil, or grease spots. This is where many people make mistakes. You must wipe the grease spot immediately with a clean, dry cloth. Do not use water. Then, the most important step. Simply let the remainder of the oil dissipate naturally into the leather. High-quality leather especially has a natural absorbency that will often, over a day or two, absorb and disperse the oil, making the stain less noticeable or even disappear.
And here's the crucial warning. Do not, under any circumstances, apply water or any soap, polish, or standard cleaner, or try to wash a grease spot with anything other than a dry cloth. This will almost certainly ruin the finish and cause the leather to become sticky, discolored, or cracked. Water and soap can actually emulsify the oil, spreading it deeper into the fibers and reacting negatively with the leather's natural oils and finish. If, after letting it dissipate, the stain persists and you're still concerned, your absolute best bet is to contact a professional leather cleaner who specializes in such issues.
These detailed maintenance tips are essential for ensuring that you can protect your leather investments, preserving their beauty, their supple feel, and their durability for years, even generations to come. It truly highlights the specialized nature of leather care, distinguishing it significantly from simple fabric cleaning and underscoring its unique properties.
And there you have it. We've taken a truly comprehensive deep dive into the incredible journey of skins, hides, and leather, a material that has been inextricably linked with human progress for tens of thousands of years. We've explored its humble beginnings as ancient hunting necessities, witnessed its elevation to sophisticated Roman furniture and symbols of medieval status, marveled at the chemical breakthroughs of modern tanning, and understood the ingenious development of its increasingly convincing synthetic alternatives.
You now have a fuller, richer appreciation for the profound history, the diverse and intricate properties, and the meticulous care involved in these remarkable materials that we often take for granted in our daily lives. From the strength of a cowhide to the delicate softness of lambskin, and the engineered consistency of synthetics, each tells a story.
Considering the sheer ingenuity humanity has displayed throughout history to transform and utilize these animal coverings, adapting them to every conceivable need from survival to luxury, and now our increasing ability to create incredibly convincing and functional synthetics, what does this ongoing quest tell us about humanity's enduring drive for versatile, durable, and beautiful materials? What is it about us that constantly seeks to innovate with the resources around us?
As we look to the future, how will our choices between natural and artificial continue to shape our world? Will sustainability concerns drive us toward more plant-based or lab-grown alternatives, or will the timeless qualities of natural leather endure? And what responsibilities do those choices carry for us, not just in terms of ethical production, but in ensuring we continue to learn, adapt, and innovate with materials that serve our needs while respecting the world around us?
The next time you encounter something made of leather or its imitation, whether it's a treasured family heirloom, your favorite pair of boots, or even the dashboard of your car, pause for a moment. Consider the incredible journey it took to get there, the countless hands that touched it, the scientific breakthroughs and ancient wisdom embedded in its very fibers. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.